This is TWiT.
It is 10 years since Edward Snowden and his revelations changed our world. Snowden says, thanks to me, end-to-end encryption is everywhere. We now understand what governments are learning about us, and we are more aware of privacy. I also think it's a little weird that he is now a Russian citizen. He's been living in Moscow for the past 10 years, but that's mostly because the U.S. wouldn't let him live anywhere else. He was in Hong Kong. They chased him out of Hong Kong. He had planned to go to Ecuador until he was told, you can't go there. So now he's a Russian citizen. The good news is you can't be extradited if you're a Russian citizen. I am so up in the air on this one. I think
it's the same. Like, on one hand, you're like, okay, he brought a lot of horrible things that were going on to light, and he did for the public to understand privacy and encryption is a huge deal. But at the same time,
he jeopardized national security. Keith Alexander, who was NSA director.
Well, he also trusted Glenn Greenwald, which is
another mistake.
Possible. Like, just that right there is the biggest mistake he made. It wasn't like it was like, I'm going to trust the biggest idiot in journalism.
I think what the way Snowden did it, I think his intentions were good, and trying to pick somebody to work with and make sure everything stayed encrypted and, review everything and not just like WikiLeaks, just publish the whole thing. He tried to do it.
No, he went to a bunch of journalists.
Yeah.
He let them vet the information.
Right. And do it try to do it in a responsible way.
He said, I went
to Robbie's point, Glenn Greenwald.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, but at the time we might not have known, that Glenn was what he was to become. But honestly, Snowden says, I tried whistleblowing. It didn't work. They wouldn't listen to me. I had to do this. And certainly we've learned a lot from him about, NSL scooping up everyone's records. In 2015, Congress wrote the USA Freedom Act, which made that illegal. Rightly so. So there have been some shifts and benefits. This is terrible, but I feel like he should have done what Reality Winner did, what Chelsea Manning. He should have done what he did and then stood up and taken the charges. But in response, said, I'm responsible. Look, I think this is important. I will go to court. I will be tried. And if you put me in jail, you put me in jail. Yeah. Going to Russia taints it a little bit.
It does. It taints it a lot because, he can't say any, how do you feel about the Ukraine war, Edward Snowden? You're never going to hear about that because he lives in Russia.
He says, according to NPR, I'm constantly criticizing the Russian government's policy, the Russian government's human rights record, even the Russian president by name. I think he's not doing it really loudly.
I think he's criticizing,
maybe at night,
super quietly. He whispers it.
A blanket over his head.
Right. He's like, the president's terrible. Okay, now I'm going to bed. Like, how does that?
And also, you live in Russia, so if you're not being critical of Putin because you live in Russia and you don't want to fall out of a window, which seems to be a thing that happens a lot in Russia.
Yeah.
Then I understand, but it also
they need better railings there. I don't know.
They need better railings, better windows. I don't know what the situation is with Russia and windows, but the people just falling out of them, and they always seem to be people who Putin are angry with. So maybe they're just so sad because Putin's not happy with them. They're just leaning on the window, smoking a cigar.
Who put plutonium in my tea? What? That's crazy.
How did I get poisoned just because I was critical of the president?
I actually like how Quippy Quint in our Discord chat put it. He did the right thing in the wrong way.
Yeah.
That's kind of how I feel.
Yeah.
I think a lot of people feel that way. He's trying to do a good thing, but he just did a good thing bad.
He is still charged. If he were to come back, he would face charges. He's got a family and children now in Russia.
He's not coming back then.
He's not coming back.
He's got kids.
He's not coming back.
So I'm grateful to him for what he did. I really am. I think it was important. I don't know. I think if you're going to do something so honorable, so important, it's hard, but you got to stand up and don't do the crime if you can't do the time, in the words.
Kind of like have that courage, the courage of your convictions. Like if you're going to do that and you're going to go out there and you're going to do something you know is iffy for a good reason, then like, okay, I believe in it so much, I will take the heat for whatever I have done in the interest of getting this information out there.
And then the trial, just even in discovery for the trial, they would have been able to, uncover more things that had been going on.
Right.
There's a lot of, and even if he gets convicted, there'll always be people who are like, oh, well, what he did is just wrong, top to bottom. And you're like, all right. But I think a majority of people understand what he did and what that means for us, privacy and encryption wise. It was a benefit. And I think, at some point a president would be like, you know what, just go home and wherever you're from.
That's what happened to
Edward Snowden's
Chelsea
from.
Manning, right? Obama commuted her sentence, right?
You're like, you did a bad thing for a good reason.
For a good reason. Exactly.
Yeah. That benefits others. Yeah. So, and the country in general.
Hey folks, I'm Ant Pruitt and I have a question for you. How do you think your hardworking team, with a Club TWiT corporate subscription plan, of course, show your appreciation and reward your tech team with a subscription to Club TWiT? Keep everyone informed and entertained with podcasts covering the latest in tech. With the Club TWiT subscription, they get access to all of our podcasts ad-free. And they also get access to our members-only Discord, access to exclusive outtakes and behind-the-scenes footage and special content like the fireside chats that I enjoy hosting. Plus, they also get shows like Hands on Mac, Hands on Windows, and the Untitled Linux Show. So, go to twit.tv/clubtwit and look for corporate plans for complete details.